This is Heavy Arrow Penetration Update number 3, featuring Rage Trypan. We've got the Spitfire Max 3, a couple of cut-on contact 4-blades, and of course we have to throw a single bevel in there because they are awesome. Stay tuned. Do you think he exploded?
I don't know.
This is Heavy Arrow Penetration Update number 3. The first Heavy Arrow Penetration update on my channel. I showed video of me shooting random and sundry pigs over the last year, mostly with high FOC, heavier cut-on contact shafts. Heavy Arrow Penetration Update number 2 was built by Big Mike Tanaka in Louisiana. I bummed a Bishop 315 off me. He shot that pig in this shoulder, went out its rear ham, put it down in 30 or 40 yards, complete pass through, and was just amazed with the results. So he and I have been kind of jockeying back and forth saying, who's the next guy to do Heavy Arrow Penetration Update number 3? Because what we need is a pig, and we need to set him up and shoot him with multiple broadheads with heavy arrows of maybe 2 or 3 different weights. But we need to include some max, and we need to include some different cut-on contacts, some different broadheads, and then just see what happens. Here we are. The man beat me to the punch. He shot this pig. It's about 170 or 75 pounds. It's a really nice, perfect. We kind of considered it to be a textbook animal to test on. A pig this size shows some penetration effectiveness on a much more durable thing than a deer. We want you to be an effective deer hunter. If you hit every deer perfect, everything works. They're pretty cream puffy. But when things go a little wonky, like maybe it drops or spins, you hit the shoulder blade, center punch a rib, that kind of thing. And we consider a complete pass-through to be the goal. On this video we have that, and that's our set premise. We prefer to see that it has enough juice to go through an animal sitting completely still. That way, when things go a little wonky, you've got extra punch when the shaft gets there. And God forbid you people that hunt elk and moose and stuff. I know they get away with it, but the heavier stuff couldn't hurt. Here we go. Thanks for watching. It's gonna be fun. All right, the first thing we'll cover is we'll do some housekeeping. Here's the bow setups. So you see he's got an Elite Victory. He shot 65 pounds for the test just to make sure that everything was pretty okay. He has a 31-inch draw length. I can't help that. So y'all can banter about that and send us hate mail or whatever. It is what it is. He shot a 65-pound bow, and he even has the speeds. Look on that screen I shot right there. 550 is 259, 670 is 239, 750 is 227. So that's the 3 arrows he's using as his range of speeds and weights. He's got a Black Widow 64 at 31 inches, and he says it's 190 feet per second. And then he has his bow, which is man-sized. So he goes heavy arrows, heavy draw, long draw length, and he goes for the whole kitchen sink. A lot of long draw length guys think they can overcome a light arrow with their long draw length, and that's fine. A lot of heavy poundage guys think they can shoot a lighter arrow, and they think that is fine. This guy shoots heavy arrows, single bevel, 80 pounds, and a long draw length. So he's got the juicer, but he didn't use that bow for this test because it's out of the spec. I mean, there's not many people do that. All right, so the first thing we shot was the Trypan, which is super popular these days, and Mike considers it to be the best Rage they make. I don't know any other things, but here is what he did. We got a 560 grain Trypan on a 300 spine full metal jacket, and a 550 grain Rampage. The difference he made was he internally weighted them. One is 5% FOC, and one is 22% FOC. Here's the results.
Well, I reckon some people got their feelings hurt. 560 grain, 6% with a Trypan. 550 something grains, 22% with the Trypan.
Head up is the Spitfire Max, and we have, here's the screenshot of the different shafts. We have a Pierce 300 at 500 grains of 16% FOC, Full Metal Jacket 300 at 670 grains, 16.2. And a third Full Metal Jacket 250 Dangerous Game, 750 grains and 10% FOC. Now you'll notice that the FOC doesn't go up as the shaft weight goes up because the shaft itself is heavier, so there's no forward of center. And so if you load the front and then the shaft gets heavier, your FOC percentage goes down, but your mass goes up. This is heavy arrow penetration number 3. The mass helps, the FOC helps, it all plugs together. Let's see the results. Those were the only broadheads in the whole test. They had complete thorax penetration, so they went across the thorax, hit the other side, and obviously that would have been a killing shot, and that's fine. They're the only broadheads in the test that did not improve as mass went up. They almost performed exactly the same on chest shots in the rib cage, across the whole thorax, and that's fine. It is what it is. There you go. It just didn't increase, it didn't get anything out of the mass. Does that mean a much lower weight arrow would have worked? I don't know. We didn't try it. So there you go, 200 grains difference and not a lot of change. Next test. Okay, we did a tri-pan. We've done the Spitfire Max for a 3-blade over-the-top expandable. These are Steel Force Premiums. And you can see that the setups are almost identical. Once again, the FOC is going down as the mass goes up. It's very difficult to increase FOC with 125 grain points. But you're going to see a dramatic change in performance. Just moving from the same arrow weight to a cut-on contact. These are 4 blades. Let's see the results.
Same arrows we just shot the Spitfires with. And you can see the lightest one still in there. But it's changing to a cut-on contact. 4-bladed head.
Pretty cool and kind of what you would expect, right? Just less resistance, and of those Steel Forces, that's a good broadhead. So now we make it interesting. He decided to quarter the pig. He's got 2 Steel Force, and then he got a 315 grain single bevel chunked into the mix. He always had to get a lighter shaft and throw that up front. He didn't want to get his arrow weights up in the 800-900s where he hunts there. So we got a 670 grain Full Metal Jacket, a 750 grain 250 Full Metal Jacket, and then he put the Nanook 315 on up here. Now, that's the heaviest FOC, because once again, we got all the point weight out front. So let's take a look at that. Here we go, hard quartering shot. Kind of the shot, the textbook shot that I recommend, and Mike would tell you all day long, it's a shot to shoot. So here we go.
Accordion shot. And the single bevel is the lightest one on this test. About 650, 660, 750 on that DG, and 650 with the single bevel.
And just for giggles, he breaks out the Black Widow, just for an arrow speed change. He's got the same arrows, the same 600-ish weight at 190 feet per second. Woohoo! And he's shooting the Pierce 250 with a Nanook at 23%. And then he's got a gold tip traditional 605 grain, and that's got the Steel Force 4-blade on it. Let's see what happens right here. Pretty fun.
the old widow.
Last but not least is the upcoming shot, autopsy, penetration, and the man cut the spine out of the pig and dug his broadhead out of it. It's the damage is unbelievable. So this is the 800 some odd grain, 83 pound bow that he normally shoots. He normally shoots pigs with this. It's just what he said. He calls them heavy loads. He got the video. Here comes the video. This is out of the blind. And when we were talking, he said, I wanted to get a hard quartering shot because I thought it would be best for the testing and it wouldn't tear up the chest. So here's a hard quartering shot. The man waited and waited and waited for the perfect shot, in his opinion, so it wouldn't break up the testing for later. How many of you guys got the mud to hold like that? And just because he's crazy, he went ahead and flipped on his video camera, or his trail cam, on video and got it from the other side. So here's that fantastic video. Broadhead still broke off in the pig at this juncture. He hadn't dug it out yet. So he guts the pig to get it ready for the shots, which you already saw in the earlier video. And it's just it's amazing. Let's take a look at some of the damage this broadhead did on the severe quartering shot. We have the typical, what we're starting to call the drain plug hole here. This is the entry hole, and that's what it looks like on the inside of the skin. This is the U-shaped cut we're seeing every time with the single bevels. And then once inside the thorax, you see how many vertebrae are broken. So I numbered the ribs corresponding with vertebrae, and it shows how many vertebrae are broken. And then the next picture, it's showing some of the secondary fractures, I believe is from the torque. When the single bevel hit the vertebrae going horizontally, I believe it caused secondary fractures and broke the ribs off there where the arrow's pointing. And then finally, it looks like there's an S cut through solid bone, through solid vertebrae. I just looking at it, it is what it is. The shape's the shape. The broadhead is exiting the screen past the number 3 and to the left a little bit there, and travels another 5 or 6 inches forward. And then here's the video of him removing the broadhead.
Alright, so we went through the spine here, blew through it, come into here, come back. You can see the broadhead, and we're at the base of the skull, right there. And the inserts, the weights, nothing appears bent. I'm pretty sure the shaft just snapped whenever he was flopping. Pretty impressed, gotta say it.
All right, so you can see this man went to a lot of effort and expense, and thanks to Big Mike Tanaka, he basically destroyed the blades on 3 Spitfire Max, 3 or 4 Tripans. He shot the single bevel, those in the Nooks and the Bishops and stuff, they don't break. You just sharpen them back up because they're beastly. And then you have to resharpen, touch up all of the steel force. And the bleeder blades are gone. He has a broken shaft, but he would have shot that pig anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But he went to the time and trouble to gut this pig. We talked about taking the guts out so you could just look inside, right? With the guts, we're not concerned about the guts slowing anything down. The heart and lungs really are pretty much air and soft tissue. There's no bones. We were once again focusing on what happens when you increase mass, change broadhead styles. Can you get a pass-through? That was our goal. We think if you can get a pass-through in this kind of fixed scientific test lab situation, as I said earlier, when you back up to deer and things go a little odd and the deer changes the shot, you'll have more horsepower to get through bones and everything else and knock them over, making you more effective. You cannot control what happens after click. When you hit the trigger, if that animal moves, they could change the point of impact 6, 8, 10 inches. We've seen it on video, update 1. This pig jumped a little bit. Makes sense that you probably only have the maximum amount of pop, the maximum amount of energy, as opposed to just barely got through the rib cage. All right, a couple of shockers didn't get the video. He shot this pig a couple times hard quartering with the dead ringer, with the big one, the big giant dead ringer. And here's a couple of pictures. That thing, both times he shot it out of his compound, 600 grains or so, kind of the same setup, right? I'm not here to advertise the dead ringer, but I can't deny the results. He also replaced the blades, so he just put brand new tri-pans in and he went quartering away with the tri-pans, and here's a couple of screenshots. They didn't seem to like the quartering shot. There's a lot of chitter chatter and stuff like that. There's got to be some kind of a physics issue there where one side of the broadhead opens up, hits bone, it is open and cutting and pushing into material, and the other side is not there, is not hitting anything. And I don't care if the points you think is locked in, when this blade hits and the point's pushing, it's gonna torque. It only has to wiggle a little bit, it's an energy dump. So any perpendicular force to your arrow, wind, animal moving, blades opening weird, seems to dump energy. It makes sense, it should. And on hard quartering shots, the tri-pan had a tough time. I think the shots were killing shots, and I think the shots would have killed your pig. So if you are, mentally, I don't care, he'd have died. What we found is with the mechanicals that do this, it's a long night. You don't get a lot of blood. Maybe it's a one-lunger. I don't know that the blades make it through the chest wall intact and they're very sharp. And I don't know how much damage they do. So we've just had a lot of weird things happen with mechanicals where it's either a crime scene or it's just a long night. The performance isn't consistent. It's what it is. I'm not here to argue with you. It is what it is. But that's what we found. On hard quartering shots, both times, you got 20, 22 inches of shaft sticking out. And that's a lot. All right, so you got to wrap up these things. First of all, if you like this video and all that good stuff, please forward it to your friends and send it out to people you feel might benefit from the information. And then, of course, subscribe to my channel because we're going to have more excitement coming up. We've got multiple heavy arrow penetration ideas coming up. Subscribe, see my little subscribe button there. Hit the subscribe button. And then the final housekeeping and the close here. The goal of being as absolutely effective as possible, and we consider a pass-through shot to be the most effective shot. You can always back down to deer. You can take a heavier setup that works on much more durable animals. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm gonna say it forever, and always shoot a deer with it. We want you to be able to make a mistake on a deer, have the deer change the shot, and you still get your deer. Because 99% of us are really excited about whitetail deer hunting. That is our real goal. We're really not in a pissing match with you people. All right. Anyway, second, why don't you have a control group, Ranch Fairy? Anybody who does a test should have a 342 grain arrow or a 90-inch draw length and shoot a bigger mechanical on lighter arrows because it's called a control group for a test. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I have a science background. Cadavers, that kind of stuff. I can say cardiothoracic lacerations and abdominal aorta and tricuspid valve with the best of you. I can actually dissect the heart and show you where the pieces and parts are. Professor Bowhunter here. His test is completely invalidated because he does not have a control group of adequate size or measure showing the other end of the spectrum. He has stayed on one side of the argument, invalidating all of his documents, and anything that he has, he basically doesn't exist. Man is an idiot. Trust me, I'm a doctor. There are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of people shooting stuff with light arrows and super fast speed and high kinetic energy, which is only a measurement of energy in every direction and has no relationship to momentum or penetration. Having said that, just go on the internet and look at the other 10,000 control groups. Getting penetration this much and thinking it's good if I have to hear another person say, I think I hit a rib, well, maybe that's why it didn't penetrate. Newsflash. There's a lot of ribs. They're freaking everywhere in there. So you're going to probably hit one. So get a setup that might just go zippity zap and zip zap through them. And you don't have to say, I think I hit a rib and that penetration, wasn't all I was hoping for. Add some weight. Add some penetration. Kill your critters efficiently. That's all we care about. I'm not here to fight with you. This is my final thing. The shadows are fantastic. I want the sport to grow. If you want to shoot a 395 grain arrow and you're out bow hunting and you're teaching people to bow hunt, God help you, please keep going. Please keep going. But if one of these days something you're doing isn't working and you want to try something different, come back to this video and give it a rip. Ranch Fairy out. Insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting something different to happen, man. Ah!